So today we have Will Lateef Little. We're very excited to have you here today. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We wanted to actually get into a discussion about change, as it's very difficult for people to start the process in changing. And with your earlier life experience as someone who went to jail for murder, what was your first initial steps to change?
Well, my first initial steps to change was acknowledging that I needed to change. Just growing up in this kind of environment in the city of Philadelphia, PA, becoming a product of my environment, we thinking that's life, and when you get a chance to just reflect on the things that you've been going through, things you did, you start to look and say, this is not living, this is not real life, and you get to a point where as though you need to change it. And that came when I was in prison. I was in prison sitting in my cell one day and just watching the old men on the block and knowing that, I didn't want to be one of those guys who were in prison for the rest of my life or using prison as a revolving door. So in order for it to happen, I couldn't do that with the mindset I had at that time because that's the mindset that got me in prison. So I knew change had to come. And the only way I could do that is with, just acknowledging that I needed it. And that's where it started at.
So was your experience while incarcerated what started your path to change, or did it start before that?
No, it was experience when I was in prison, like I said, just sitting down, reflecting every day, being in that kind of environment. I have to adapt to that environment too as well, but knowing that this is something that I did not want for myself for the rest of my life, and knowing that the only way I can change the outcome or trajectory of my life if I actually change the way I was thinking, and I can only do that with the proper education of self, so that's what I began to do. I began to look deeper into myself.
What would you tell someone who feels they can't change or they're having trouble with starting the path to change?
Well, what I would tell someone who feels that they can't change or who think change is hard, I would say if you think change is hard, it will be. 90% of the things that we think about are basically true. So if you tell yourself that you can change, then it will be possible. Just like myself, when I thought about change, I knew I wanted to, I knew I had to, and I had to convict myself into actually putting the right foot forward and taking those steps to change. And change is easy. Change is very easy, even though people say change is hard, but change is easy. What is difficult is the process of change. The process of dealing with those negative habits, those negative thoughts, those negative reactions. And those are the things that are hard. But they're only hard when you don't expect those challenges to come. When we expect challenges to come, then we're more prepared to face the challenge. A lot of people say they want change, but not prepared to face the challenge of change. Because those challenges are inevitable, right? Because part of the universal law of relativity is that you will be challenged in life. All throughout your life, you will always be challenged. And when you understand the law of relativity, you know that I'm prepared for whatever thing that's coming to my way or coming to my path that's going to allow me to elevate. So I look at it as something that's going to allow me to grow, allow me to elevate it, and I look forward to every challenge so I can level up. And that's the best way of looking at how do you change. Because change is going to happen inevitably or reluctantly, and some is willingly. And most of the time, we're willing to change the things that we think is easy and run away from the challenges that are hard. And like they say, if you do what is easy for you, life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, life will become easy.
That's very powerful. Thank you for sharing. How can people find you, book you for maybe a one-on-one coaching session, and start their process, their journey on change, being guided by you?
Well, they can book me on my Instagram page, which is Lateef_Muhsin, or My website, WillLatifLittle.com. You can find me there. Or you can find me on Facebook under Will Latif Little or Will Little on Facebook. And you can find me on any of those platforms on social media. You can just DM me or send me a message. And I'll be happy to provide the service that you need in order for you to become the best version of yourself.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. That's everything for today. You guys heard it here first. Book your session, your one-on-one session with Will Latif Little.